The Winpak software is a database that consists of several tables. When we define the tables and link them together, we're able to control the devices in the system as well as control when and where cards are going to work. The first table that we need to identify is the time zone table. We go to Configuration, Time Management, Time Zone, and we'll get a list of time zones that are currently available within the system. Keep in mind that these time zones don't do anything until we actually use them and link them to another table. So what you need to do first is define the time zones or the time periods that you need to have certain events happen. The types of events that you would use time zones for are to allow access with a particular card at a particular door, and also to automatically lock and unlock doors on a predefined schedule. In here we'll define what those time periods would be. Again, keeping in mind that this is just creating the time period. It will not affect anything in your system until we actually use it. So we'll go down and click on where it says Add, and we can create a new time zone in here. Similar to the other time zones that you can see already listed in the system, I recommend naming the time zone something that is indicative of what it is. It just makes it easier for you to use it later on, such as 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. If you were to label it first shift, then when you go to use it, you wouldn't necessarily know what time period it is that you scheduled in there. So by labeling it, you would know exactly what you have. For our purposes here, let's create a time zone that's from 8:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. So I'm going to label it 8:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. In the description, you can now use your first shift or admin shift, whatever it is that you might want to use as a description of it, but it would be easier to use the time zone itself, having the name of the actual time. Since in this instance we are going to use this time zone to define when employees' cards are going to work and not work, we would want to take into account that if their shift actually starts at 8:30, we may want to give them access at 8:15 so that they can be clocked in and starting work at their shift start time. This is something that you would need to determine in your HR department. We want to start this time at 8:30 on Monday. On the left-hand side, we have our days of the week listed with just their first initial, except for Thursday. Then we have Sunday, Holiday 1, Holiday 2, and Holiday 3. We can ignore Holiday 2 and 3 because those are for a different type of panel, not the Winpak software panels. But we're going to start with Monday, and I said we wanted it from 8:30 to 5. Well, something else we need to look at is the snap time over here on the side. This helps us when we're defining our time to snap a line closest to every 60, 30, or 15 minutes. In this case here, because we want to go 8:30 to 5:30, we want a snap time of 30 minutes. And you'll see what I mean in a minute. If we come up here, 8 o'clock starts here. We actually want 8:30, so we'll click at 8:30, hold our mouse key down, and we're going to drag it across until we can get to 5:30. If we had this set at a snap time of 60 minutes, it would not allow us to go to the 30-minute mark, only the 60-minute. And this actually went, if you look down at the bottom where it says mouse time, you can see that it started at 9 a.m. I need that to go back a little bit because we wanted 8:30. So I can just come, click, and drag, and bring it to the 8:30 time, and it automatically clicks in those time periods for me. Since they're going to be working the same shift Monday through Friday, there's a nice little cheat button they have in the upper right hand corner here that says copy Monday to weekdays. What this does is it allows you to put in the hours on just Monday, and by clicking on it, it's going to automatically copy those same hours to the rest of the week for you. Now you need to determine whether or not the employees who would be using this time zone are going to need access on the weekends. If they are, you're going to want to put that time period in where it has Saturday and Sunday. If not, then you just leave it blank. And when we apply this time period afterwards, you'll see how that works. It is not going to include time on Saturday and Sunday, only the time that we have programmed in. Now, what about if you have someone who works a split shift? They work in the morning, and then they leave in the afternoon, and then they work in the evening. You can put in whatever start and stop times you need by simply putting your mouse in the day of the week at the start time and dragging it across to the end time. And you can program whatever number of start and stop times you need to accommodate any particular schedule you may have. Since most employees work the same schedule, there isn't a split shift, we're going to remove these extra times that I just put in. By putting your right mouse click over the time box, it's going to bring up another box where you can manually enter in your start and end time, or you can also delete the range that's currently in there. So we're going to delete the ranges for this extra time that we put in. Once you have all your times filled in, and you're comfortable that that's the time periods that you need, we'll click OK and we'll save that time period. You'll see that that now appears in your list as an available time zone. Now you may also want a time zone in there to control your front doors, to have them automatically lock and unlock on a specific schedule. To do that, we can again go in and click on Add. And in this instance, if you are using it for a particular lock, I would recommend putting that information as the name of the time zone, just so you don't inadvertently change that, thinking you're changing a card's access when you're actually changing the time on a door. So in this instance, I would perhaps label this front door. And now we may want the door open from 8 to 5. So again, we're going to drag and click and create our time period, and we want it just Monday through Friday, so we're going to copy Monday to weekdays. We don't want it opening on Saturdays, Sundays, or holidays, so we're going to leave those blank. Now you may also want to create a time zone for use on a particular door to have it open and close or lock and unlock at a specified time, such as the front door. So to create another time zone, we're simply going to click on Add. And in this instance, if we're going to use it to control a particular lock, I would recommend giving it a name that indicates that, so that you don't inadvertently change this time zone if you're thinking that it might be used on a card or for some other feature, because you certainly don't want to accidentally change the times that your door is automatically locked and unlocked. So in this instance, I'm going to label this front door. Give it a description. And now, say for instance, we want it to automatically be unlocked from 8 to 5. We're going to come down to our Monday column, and we're going to click on 8 o'clock, hold our mouse key down, drag it across to 5 o'clock, and we're going to have the 8 to 5 on Monday. Now again, we'll use our button in the right corner, copy Monday to weekdays, and it will automatically populate the rest of the week for us. If you needed it on a half-hour schedule or a 15-minute schedule, remember to change your snap time over on the right-hand side so that it will allow you to do that. Once we have our times in here, we'll click OK, and once again, we are added to our time zone list. If you ever need to change one of your time zones that you previously set up, you can do so simply by highlighting the time zone and clicking on the Edit button, and now you're back where you were when you first programmed it, and you can make whatever changes you need. When you are done, simply click on OK, and it'll save those changes for you. Once we are finished with creating the time zones that we need, we can go ahead and click on the X and close out of our time zone schedules.